Hey guys and gals, and everything in between. Hey, so I wanted to do a quick update video on my Ryobi RYI2300 Bluetooth inverter generator. And I figured there's no better time than to do it while we are actually using it for a power outage. So we had a pretty nasty storm come through and knocked out power. Today's Monday about 3 p.m. and power went out Sunday about 3 a.m. So, you know, it's been, what, 30 something hours or so. Basically this thing's been running non-stop. I've only shut it off twice to refuel it. So I'll quickly show you how I've got it connected to the house and show you the transfer switch and talk a little bit about the generator. And so I'll jump over real quick to where I have it connected to the house and show you how I have that connected. Alright, so here's how I have it connected to the house, and I know there's a bunch of internet electricians and code Nazis, but you know, this is how I have it, this is how I've set it up. The ultimate goal is to actually have a 30 amp inlet. I'm going to replace this with a 30 amp inlet and actually hardwire it directly to the transfer case, but this is what I have for now. And essentially what I've done is I went to one of the big box stores, hardware stores, grabbed, like, you know, 5 feet or so of this cord, and this is 3-wire 10 gauge extension cord, and it's a little bit heavy. Actually, it's kind of hard to bend and actually tuck this back in here, but I essentially put a 15 amp male plug on the end of this, and this is a 50-foot 3-wire 12 gauge extension cord, and this is actually connected directly to my generator and then connected to this male end as well, and bought this little bubble cover to cover it up when I'm not using it. So I'll actually go to the inside of the garage and show you what it looks like on that side. Alright, it's a little bit dark, so sorry about that. I've got both of my vehicles in the garage. So essentially on the back side of the wall here in the garage, I have a standard household receptacle, and what I've done is I've wired the outlet just like you would wire a standard household receptacle actually into the house. So there's a hot, neutral, and a ground connected here, which is powering this side of the outlet. And this cord is a 20 amp generator, 4-wire cord that came with our generator, and it was damaged, and so I lopped it off and put this 3-prong male connector on and killed one of the hots, because it is a 4-wire, which means you have 2 hots. So I killed one of the hots, taped it off, and put it back here. Honestly, if you don't understand that, or if that was a bit confusing to you, then I would say you probably would want to either consult an electrician or maybe have someone who is knowledgeable help you out to get this connected, because, you know, this is not high voltage, but you certainly could, if you did something wrong, burn your house down. You know, this is a pretty, I would say, safe alternative to backfeeding your house. And initially when I had set this up, it was so I can connect extension cords from the garage and run them up through the house versus having to run them through a window or a dryer vent, or, you know, leaving a sliding glass door cracked or something like that. So that was the initial application for this, and when I installed the transfer switch, I decided to just go ahead and kind of create this little cord here, which I'll show you where I have that connected at on the transfer switch and talk about that a little bit. Alright, so here's the actual transfer switch itself. I'm not going to go into details about this specific transfer switch. It's an EGS Emergem switch, 10 circuit, so there's plenty of information on the internet if you want to do some research. But essentially this is 2 legs, so you've got 120 here, 120 here. If you need any more than 15 amps, you can actually tie 2 of these together if you need it. So this is the other end of that old generator cord, and this had a 20 amp twist lock connect on it, and I went ahead and lopped that off and just put a little bit bigger 30 amp on there so I can fit it into this transfer switch. And this is basically what it looks like here, and I bought it, I think, on Amazon or something, or maybe eBay. Get that to focus. And I'm not going to go into detail on this. There's plenty of videos on YouTube or diagrams if you want to figure out how to do this. But the small generator that I have is 120 single phase, so which means that I've got a ground, a neutral, and one hot. As you can see here, there's 4 prongs. This can accept 4 prongs, and with a 240, like for example with our bigger 5,000 watt, you would have your neutral, your ground, your neutral, and then 120 and 120. And then that would, when you plug it in, that would give you hot connection. It would power both legs of this transfer switch. So because I do not have 240 and I'm running it off of that small generator, essentially what I've done is I have just jumped this hot to this hot. So now I have 120 across both legs of this transfer switch. Again, if that is beyond your realm or something you're not comfortable with, I would definitely recommend consulting someone, or even just having that 30 amp plug-in. They do sell an adapter like this on Amazon and eBay. I think they're around like 40-50 bucks. This is an old kind of a 3-way extension cord, little 3-foot deal that I wasn't using, and just decided to make it out of that. So as far as what we can run, basically the only things we can't run are our dryer and our actual oven part. We can run a burner at a time. We can run the microwave. Most of our lights, if not all of them, including the fixtures, have been converted to LED. So I'm able to run my furnace, 2 refrigerators, one upstairs and one in the garage, all of our lights and outlets, the TVs, Xbox, internet, all of that stuff. We actually don't even have internet right now because of how bad the windstorm was, and we've got some power poles down. So, but as you can see, it works. I've got power. We're expected to be out for probably at least 2 more days, and I've got power. So it's not ideal. Again, I eventually want to upgrade to that outlet on the back that I created there. I want to upgrade that to a 30 amp and tie it directly into this transfer switch, but I just haven't done that, whether it's just laziness or just having a setup that works. Again, it's not to code. This is not something that I would recommend. I'm not recommending that you do it, but most of this stuff is pretty basic, and you can do it in an afternoon if you're somewhat competent when it comes to electrical. So I'll talk a little bit about the generator itself. As for the generator itself, this thing has been awesome. I would say we're probably at about 200 hours or so on it. We've had no problems. I've had no problems whatsoever. I've done the scheduled maintenance. The one thing I did do was to replace the spark plug, because the one I feel like came with it just was kind of junk. So I replaced that, gapped it properly, and it's fuel efficient. We've been running this straight. I've been running this for probably about 35 hours now, roughly, and stopped it twice to refill it, and it takes about a gallon of gas. So do the math there. The bigger one that I have in the shed is 5,000 watts, and I think that thing goes through about a gallon an hour. So very much fuel efficient. It's quiet. We can run it all night. And if you're properly kind of balancing your load, you can certainly run your house or most of the essentials during a power outage. We've primarily used it for camping, and it's been great for that application. And I can't really say anything bad about it. The Bluetooth app itself is just awesome, and I'll do a more in-depth review on this probably in the spring when we actually are using it in camping, and when I'm not using it to power my house. I'll do a more detailed in-depth review, but all in all, this thing's been awesome, and I would highly recommend it. The Bluetooth app itself makes it worth the money. Just being able to control it, shut it off, monitor it, get alerts, reset the breaker, all that fun stuff from the convenience of my warm house or my trailer. That alone just kind of tops any of the other brands out there. So anyways, if you have any questions or any comments, let me know. I usually trying to get back to everybody, and take care. Thanks.